Let's talk about the songwriting process. I wanted to talk about how you craft lyrics, how you put those things together, and how to make it an easier process for you when you're going about writing your songs. So when we talking about songwriting and the whole bit, basically how I start off, I basically start with the music. When I was first starting off and I was an early writer, I would just write to anything. I didn't have to have music, I didn't have to have anything. But now, when we want to be more intentional with the music, specifically me, I'm being more intentional with what I'm doing and how I make my music. Obviously, you want the record to correlate. You want it to make sense, right? Because when you're doing like post-production, you may hear like drops of music that you want to take out so you can emphasize your lyrics. You may hear parts where you want to play with it because the beat changes here. So all of that is a part of production, right? And that's what you call being a good artist, right? That's actually putting on your producer hat, because you're not just making a rap or whatever, you're actually making a song, a record, a recorded work that you want to stand the test of time. So the biggest thing I could tell you is start with the music. The music is going to set the vibe, right? And that goes with tempo, and that goes with the key of the song. That goes into music theory. So I would suggest that you learn the basics of music theory so you could become a better artist. Because essentially, what are we doing here, right? Music is a language. It has its own language that it speaks in time, right? It has its own language that it speaks in notation, has its own language. So to learn that, I'm not telling you to get so deep involved that you have to learn every note and every scale, but I would advise you to start with the basics and work your way up. Learn the language of music so you could become a better artist, right? So BPM refers to beats per minute, and that refers to how fast the song is, usually from the percussion elements. So your drums is going to set your BPM. So the faster the drums, the higher the BPM, and likewise the slower the drums, the lower the BPM. So when you're doing it and you're doing a record, you want to make sure that, let's say you, in your mind, you have an idea for a dance record, right? You want to do a dance record and you're saying, okay, typically dance records are fast when it comes to the BPM. So you will want a higher BPM, right? And different genres of music have pretty much set BPMs or guideline BPMs. Like I know hip hop typically started at like a 70 BPM to 100 BPM. And then now what you have is like double time. So basically the multiple of that BPM times 2 or times 3 even sometimes, right? So instead of 70 BPM, you may see a track that's 140 BPM, right? But essentially it's just speeding up the drums. So I would say be clear and concise on what you want to do, the type of track you want to do, and then that'll guide you as far as like the sound of the BPM. Now the key, typically when you're talking about the scales of music, in Western music you have the minor scale and the major scale typically. So when you have the major scale pretty much denotes to like happy, upbeat, right? And the minor scale typically denotes to gloomy, blue, or dramatic music. So if you were trying to do a song and you wanted it to be, oh, I want to do the this type of music, I want to do this type of scale, follow the guidelines and try to see how the song comes out, right? These are just ways to help you out starting out. So typically when you go and looking for tracks, like, you know, they got BeatStars, they got different stuff, they usually provide the BPM and they usually provide the key of the track next to the record. So along with the category, So let's say you like, oh, I want something like West Coast, I want something East Coast, I want something trap, I want something like this. They have that, and you could type in on YouTube type beats, and you can get artist type beats, such as like a Kanye West type beat, Kendrick Lamar type beat, so on and so forth, right? But I'm telling you basically in the music theory form how to do this so you can know what to look for, right? And then you also have, once you come across the beat, and I want to get this out, so I'm not rushing through these videos. I'm trying to give y'all as much information as possible, right? It's typically how I would do it. If I'm not producing the track myself and starting off with like a sample of a guitar loop or something like that, even with that, backing tracks and all of that, they usually come with the key and the BPM. So in my mind, if I have a certain key and a BPM, because I have an idea of the type of track I want to do, I'm going to be leaps and bounds ahead because I already know what direction I'm going into. So once I find that backing track, or I find that sample, right, or you know, maybe hire a session musician and tell them, hey, play this note in this key, in this tempo, and I want you to improv, and then I'll find the best loop and I'll start with that and build my track from there, right? So once I have all of that information, right, key and BPM, now it's time for me to brainstorm. Once I have that, I go for basic emotion. So what I'll do is I'll open up voice notes on my iPhone and I'll start freestyling to the track. And it's called top lining. It's basically when you providing the melody or the cadence of the track, of the vocal track, the flow. Like if I hear a beat and I'm going na 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 na, right? That's the cadence that I want the words to fill in. I don't need the words right now. I'm just top lining, right? That's a songwriter jargon term that you could learn. Top lining is when you provide that cadence and how the song is gonna go, right, with the lyrics. And then later on I will fill in the lyrics based on that cadence, and that's how I will have my structure of the song. So this is important, and why I want to show these things for y'all, because somebody it could help. Just like when I was looking and Googling for these things, I'm trying to put everything in one place. So as I do more and more of these videos, you can just go back and be like, oh, hey, that's useful, that's helpful, right? But now I use the voice notes and I have a structure of how I want the lyrics to go. So then I just fill it in once I do that top line. So now I top line it, I got it going. I'm like, all right, cool. Top line is working. So after I top line that, then I go, it's the next one. Fill it in the lyrics. I got the lyrics done. And now I write the verse. Now in order to, when I'm writing the verse, I have a whiteboard in my room where I will put the topic of the song, right? And this is holding myself accountable while I'm writing the song and coming up with lyrics. I make sure that the words align with the topic. I don't just rush through the process, right? I don't just do it and be like, yeah, I got it in there now, I know. No, I make sure that the theme is fully followed, because I want to make sure that when I'm doing it, everything is following the theme of the song. It's important that you don't get frustrated when you write in the song and that you follow the theme. You want it to be a fully cohesive idea. You want everything to go together. You don't want to get caught up in just trying to rush through the verse because now you're frustrated and you've been sitting at an idea. You started out with the first 4 bars, it was good, but then the 6 to 8 bars or 6 to 12 is giving you problems, and you just rushing through it like just to get it done. No, you're not saying anything. You want to make sure that from bar 1 to bar 16, it's a fully cohesive process. So that's why I always have a whiteboard up and I'll say what the song is about. If I know that the song is about, for instance, I'll say a relationship. Then I'll say what type of relationship. I'll say a woman that's, for example, when I wrote Runaway, I put up there is a woman that is afraid of commitment in a relationship. So she's scared to get close to a partner because she's been hurt in the past. Then that means all the lyrics going forward would have to align with that topic, right? I can't skirt off the idea and start talking about relationships, then start talking about how much money I got, or you know what I'm saying, this car I'm driving. It's not gonna make sense to the story, right? It has to be a cohesive story. And I think if more artists was able to keep a cohesive storytelling ability is a big part of being a great writer. These is just, I'm gonna just break it down. Whether you write lyrics, whether you write stories, whether you write scripts, whether you write whatever, storytelling ability is a a tool of a writer that you need to have in your arsenal, right? That's something that makes you a great writer. Being able to connect, being able to fully tell a story and have the viewer immerse themselves in it and it be fully cohesive. That's the part of being an artist that people don't see, the work and the work ethic of developing that toolbox and those skills. So you could call yourself an artist and do whatever, but if you're not working on your craft and you're not really doing what it takes to be an artist, then you just, like I said in the previous videos, you looking for a flip. You just want fame, you just want money, or you just trying to flip yourself, get clout. But this is what it is to be an artist, man. Work on your craft just to see how good you can get, see how better you can become. That's the best way to do it. Don't worry about all that other stuff. If it comes, it comes. But the best thing to do is just to be an artist and work on your craft, right? It's a beautiful feeling when you're able to see, like, man, look how far I came as an artist. Go listen to your past works, right? And listen to the songs that you were making from, I say, a year ago. And then compare those songs. And if year after year you're getting better, you're able to see your growth. And it's even better when you can see it, but then your audience can even point it out to you and say, like, hey man, I was listening when you made this song, but you really in your pocket right now. You really stepped it up. I was able to hear growth, right? That's a beautiful thing, man. You start to cultivate an audience and people start to really appreciate you for what you do. It starts with you first. And I try not to live and die with the comments, because whether they good or bad, it's good to be even killed, because as long as you doing it and it makes you happy and you continually say, I'm showing up for myself, I'm working on my craft, then that's all that really matters. But it is a beautiful thing when people can appreciate your growth, right? So that's the main thing I would say. If you can get that and people can appreciate the growth, that would be a great thing to see. Also, just being that artist and doing it and putting it out, you start to build a collaborative community. So that's when artists start to reach out, producers start to reach out, right? And now you have more resources available for you to express yourself and tap into and reach more markets, reach more fan bases, right? Because essentially music is a collaborative thing. I feel like at its best, you have to first establish your own foundation and be respected as an artist, respected as a voice. But once that is accomplished and people start reaching out and it makes sense, I'm all for collaborating and reaching and working with people when I see them putting in the work. Like, let it be a true collaboration. Let it be a true, I got this amount of fan base, these amount of videos, this amount of resources that I've invested into myself. I see you likewise of doing the same thing. You were on this, featured on this website. Your channel is growing. You got this amount of views and listeners. Let's collaborate and pool our audience together so we can have some type of fair exchange. You know, there's a saying, fair exchange is no robbery. But there's a difference between collaborating with people right? And actually being a real collaborative effort that's of value, and then just trying to get on, and somebody trying to take advantage and clout chase. There's a true difference in that. You know the difference when somebody trying to clout chase, right? They don't have anything of value to offer. They just expect you to bring everything. You the artist, you bought the camera, you know what I mean, shoot your videos, you got the audience and the fan base, right? People reach out all the time and be like, hey, let's work, let's do something. Let me try to get this off. As y'all can see, it's raining. They reach out all the time and want to do something, but if it's not, you know, collaborative in a real sense, then you just clout chasing and you really don't have nothing to offer. Work with people on your level. That's what I say. Work with people on your level. Don't try to reach out. But the main thing I wanted to reiterate is my creative process is pretty simple, right? I start with the music. I'm gonna summarize this. I start with the feel, the vibe, the key, and the BPM of the track. That's gonna formulate the music, right? Then from there, I start with the arrangement. I start to do a top line, and I start to put in the cadence and the structure of what I want the vocals to be and sound like, format that. Then I fill it in with the lyrics. I'll write the topic on my whiteboard, and I will go from there, and I will make sure that the lyrics that I write all correspond to the overall theme of the record. Okay? It has to correspond with the overall theme of the record. From there, I'll fill it in, and I will come up with my verses. I come up with my hooks, and there you have it. You have a record that is fully fleshed out with full intention, from key to BPM to arrangement, style of track, from the cadence to the top line to the fleshed out vocals, the hook, lyrics, everything connects, and then you go lay the track, right? So just wanted to share that with y'all. Hope that helps you out when you writing your songs. And if you got any ideas or any videos you want to see, any topics you want me to talk about and explain in my work process, leave it in the comments. Remember to like this video. If you're still here, leave a comment that says creative process. If you've made it this far, write creative process in the comments, and I'm gonna know you're a real one for making it this far. Share the video if you found it of value, and you know anybody that is a aspiring artist, an independent artist just on the come up that may need this help, or whatever stage they're at, right? And yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Until next time.